You know, getting into the US stock market, it can feel a little overwhelming, right? Where do you even start? So today, we're going to break down one of the most popular and, frankly, powerful answers to that question, the VOO ETF. Okay, but what if I told you that you could invest in the biggest, most successful US companies, all 500 of them, all at once in a single, super simple step? It might sound complicated, but the solution is actually incredibly straightforward.
All right, so before we jump into the how, we've got to understand the what. What exactly are we talking about when we say the core of the US market?
And that what is the S&P 500 index. Think of it like the ultimate VIP list for American business. It's a carefully selected group of the 500 most important, most influential public companies in the country. And get this, together, they make up about 80% of the entire value of the US stock market. It's the benchmark for the health of the whole economy. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. The S&P 500 isn't just some random list of stocks. We're talking about the very engine of the world's largest economy. So investing in it is basically a bet on the long-term strength and innovation of the US itself. So that all sounds great, right? Super powerful. But how does a regular person like you or me actually invest in an entire index? Well, that's where this amazing tool comes in. The answer, my friends, is VOO. It's an exchange-traded fund, an ETF, from Vanguard. So what the heck is an ETF? Don't worry, it's pretty simple. It's just a fund that you can buy and sell on a stock exchange, just like a share of any company. And VOO's only job is to own a tiny piece of all 500 companies in the S&P 500. So when you buy just one share of VOO, you instantly become a part owner of those 500 companies. It really is the key that unlocks the entire market. Okay, so you might be wondering, why is everyone talking about VOO? Why has it become so popular? Well, it really comes down to four huge advantages. I like to call them its superpowers. All right, superpower number one, ultimate diversification. We've all heard the saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Well, this takes that idea to a whole other level. See, when you buy VOO, you're not just throwing all your money at tech companies. Nope, you get a piece of everything spread across all 11 major sectors of the economy. We're talking healthcare, finance, energy, you name it. This instantly spreads out your risk, which is huge. If one area has a bad year, another one might be booming, and that creates a really nice natural balance. And this is where it gets really cool, because we're talking about real companies you know and use every single day. You own a tiny slice of the Apple phone in your pocket, the Amazon boxes showing up at your door, even the banks you use. All of them, plus over 495 others, are right there in your portfolio. Okay, superpower number two, and honestly, this one might be my favorite. It's what I call the self-cleaning mechanism. It automatically keeps your investment up to date with the winners, so you don't have to. So how does this magic work? Well, a committee of experts regularly reviews all the companies in the index based on some really strict rules. If a company starts to struggle and doesn't meet the standards anymore, it gets checked out. Then a new up-and-coming company takes its place. It's basically survival of the fittest for the stock market, and it all happens behind the scenes for you. And what does that mean for you? It means your investment is always holding the winning team, constantly evolving to include the most important and dynamic companies in the economy, all without you having to lift a finger. All right, advantage number three. And this one is probably the biggest game changer for your long-term wealth. Ridiculously low cost. Just look at that number, 0.03%. That's VOO's annual fee, or its expense ratio. To put that in perspective, for every $10,000 you have invested, you're paying just $3 a year. $3! That's less than a fancy cup of coffee. It's practically free. So you're probably asking, how on earth is it so cheap? Well, unlike those fancy, actively managed funds where you have expensive analysts trying to pick winning stocks, VOO is a passive fund. It's not trying to be a hero and beat the market, it's simply trying to be the market. That automation keeps costs incredibly low, and that matters a lot, because high fees are like a slow leak in your investment engine. A typical fund charging 1% just eats away at your returns year after year. With VOO, almost all of your money stays invested, working for you and letting that magic of compounding do its thing. Okay, so the theory sounds great, right? Diversification, self-cleaning, low costs, it all checks out. But does it actually work in the real world? Let's take a look at the history books. Look, we all know the stock market can be a roller coaster. There are crashes, there are bad years, there's definitely some panic from time to time. But here's the thing. When you zoom out, like way out, and look at decades of history, a very clear and powerful pattern emerges. The long-term trend has been consistently upward.
Let's break that down. Maybe in your first year, the market takes a dip. It happens. But history shows us that if you just hang in there over 5, 10, 20, or 30 years, patient investors have been rewarded time and time again as the market not only recovers, but pushes on to new highs. It really hammers home that this is a marathon, not a sprint.
All right, so let's bring it all home. After looking at how VOO works, its superpowers, and its history, what's the big takeaway for you as an investor? At the end of the day, it really boils down to this. VOO is simple. One purchase and you own the core of the US market. It's transparent. You always know exactly what you own. It's incredibly efficient. Those low costs and the self-cleaning mechanism do all the heavy lifting for you. And maybe most importantly, it's proven. It's a strategy that's literally built on the long-term growth of the world's biggest economy.
So look, we've just broken down a really powerful engine for building long-term wealth. The question now isn't just about what VOO is. The real question is, how could an engine like this fit into your long-term financial blueprint? Now that's something to think about.